As we begin the new year, it's a time for self reflection, setting goals for the new year, and figuring out our intentions for the future. And I've also noticed that a lot of people are centering their lifestyle around being analog, setting their phones aside, getting off of social media, stop the doom scrolling, and they're wanting to ground themselves back into their arts and crafts. Find the child within them again. Get creative and find ways that bring joy that are not so centered around electronics and media. And I love this sentiment so much. This was one of my goals for the second half of 2025. And that's the biggest reason why I started Julia Cameron's The Artist Way. And I thought I could spend some time chatting through my thoughts and give some tips to set yourself up for success if you're wanting to start your own journey towards finding or just rediscovering your creativity. I will say this is going to be a chatty video, so grab a cup of coffee, a glass of wine, or pen and paper, and maybe create some art while you listen to me chit chat to ya. If you're returning, welcome back. But if you're new here, hi, my name is Shuba and I like to read books. I predominantly center this channel around reading books, but the last 12 plus weeks have been focused on working my way through The Artist's Way. And I have an entire playlist linked down below if you want to follow along through my process as someone who is not entirely artistic inclined, but someone who needed to desperately put her phone down and find other hobbies that bring me joy. I started The Artist Way back in August of 2025, and I finished the first week of January, which honestly was perfect timing, especially with the new year, finishing this what felt like a chapter of growth and change for me. And I have thoughts. I do think it's helped me become a better person in some creative ways. If you're wanting to know what The Artist's Way is, it is a 12-week journey for spiritual growth and recovery, redefining or finding your creativity from the perspective of a woman named Julia Cameron. And she is an international best-selling author. This book, when I got it last year, said 30th anniversary edition. So I believe it's been around for over 30 years, which is crazy to me because not only does that mean that those who have been through the artist's way and the journey, we all have something collective that we can say that we finished together, something that's been grounded and rooted in an artist for 30 plus years. It's kind of fascinating the more that I think about this, just the idea that there's so many people out there who have gone through this experience like I have, and everyone's gotten something different out of it. Those who finished, those who haven't finished, I think there's something we can take away from even just the first page or the preface of what Julia Cameron has to say. So I recently finished The Artist's Way, and I wanted to sit back and take some time, separate myself from The Artist's Way so I can really marinate on what I would like to share with you all. What are my biggest pieces of advice for anyone who's wanting to start The Artist's Way? And just speaking from a perspective of someone who didn't follow The Artist's Way to a T. And that might be surprising, that might shock you, that might make you nervous, but take it all as you will. I still believe that I got so much out of this book, and you can too, whether you follow this book step by step, or maybe you find your own path through this 12-week course. There's 4 parts to The Artist's Way. You have the material, So, reading through each chapter of the book, and each chapter represents a week. And from there, you have different prompts and activities that you're asked to think on and reflect on and act on as well, based on the topic that is covered for that week. And then you also have the artist's date, and then morning pages, which I'm sure most of you have heard of at some point in your life if you clicked on this video. The artist date is a date that you take yourself on. It's a date for you to enjoy by yourself, to feel inspired, to get your creative juices flowing, and it's a chance for you to spend time by yourself for maybe 1 to 2 hours, whether that might be at home, whether that might be out and about somewhere. It's a time for you to just be creative. No strings attached, no rules. Okay, there are some rules technically to the artist way, but no rules. Just have fun on your artist date, reflect, create, enjoy. Bring out the child within you. And then you have the morning pages. The morning pages are 3 pages. First thing, you wake up in the morning, stream of conscious, dump. This is your time to share whatever is on your mind, share how you're feeling, literally anything that you're thinking in that moment. You write it down. You don't question what you're writing. You don't look back on your writing once you're done with your 3 pages. You let yourself just draw out your subconscious thoughts and how you're feeling. It's actually terrifying, but also very therapeutic at the same time, especially if you continue with your morning pages. So you work on these 4 key pieces for 12 whole weeks, reading through the chapter, working on the prompts and activities, the artist date, and morning pages every single day. It is a little intimidating, I'm not gonna lie, but you get what you put into it, and I can confidently say that you are left a little bit different than how you started off. And there is beauty in that. There is growth that happens, whether you notice it right away or you might notice it after a few weeks. It might take you some time. You will learn a little bit about yourself as you go through the process and once you finish. So with that, I would like to share my top 10 tips to help guide you through the artist's way, coming from someone who might have gone through this unconventionally. Not might have, definitely. Definitely have. I'm just human. What can I say? Okay, I'm not perfect, but I still got a lot out of it. So I think you can too if you're on the fence or considering starting. The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. I did write my 10 tips. Actually, I say advice on here, which is very accurate. I would say that they're pieces of advice, and they are in no particular order of importance because I think all of these 10 pieces are integral to my journey, and I found them to be very helpful in that sense. I know I said that each piece of advice is just as important as the next, but this one is extra important. We're starting off strong. It is to go through the artist's way with an open mind. Everyone is going to have a different experience, and you really cannot compare yourself with someone else's experience. I went on a rabbit hole on TikTok and on YouTube, just watching a lot of different artist way videos of people who have already gone through the process, people who are currently going through the process, and listening to people share their thoughts on the artist's way made me go into the artist's way expecting what they were feeling out of it. I was expecting to feel the same way as someone else going through the artist's way, and 1, that's not healthy, and 2, that is not what happened at all. And it is just a reminder that everyone lives such a different and unique, beautiful life, and everyone's experiences are different, and that's going to also be the case for the artist way. You can't expect to have the same reaction or the same thought or process as someone else. And if you did, that wouldn't be creative. There would be no fun in that. And so it's so important to just keep your mind open and just know that this is your experience. This is your time to work through this 12-week process and no one else's. With that, my second tip is to take this journey at your own pace. The Artist Way is a 12-week course, and Julia Cameron suggests that you work through each week in that time frame, so you finish this in 12 weeks. But I believe that you should go at your own pace, whatever that might look like. When I started in August, I was supposed to be done 3 months from August. So August, September, October, end of October. I didn't finish until the new year. I started over at one point. I spent a few weeks on one section. I did this because I didn't want to overwhelm myself. And I knew that if I rushed and forced myself to do something, I wasn't going to get the fullest knowledge or potential out of that week's chapter. I knew that if I rushed my way through it, I wouldn't give it my all. And when you go through the Artist Way, you want to give it your all. You want to immerse yourself into this journey, and you want to make sure that you finish everything for that week. But you don't have to do it on time. If you spend working on chapter 2 for 2 or 3 weeks, that's okay. I think the most important part is making sure you get what you want out of it, and ultimately the goal is to finish, right? So what I'm saying is that you should take as much time as you need, even if that means more than 12 weeks, because you need to get what you want out of it. So this next tip is tying back to time. This is a very time-consuming journey. You have about, I would say, 2 to 3 hours a week of the Artist Way, and you're doing this for 12 or so weeks, right? It's going to take up and consume so much of your time, and it's so important that you have friends and family that are on board with you. And what I mean by that is not that they should be doing the Artist Way with you, but I think it's so important that they acknowledge that you're going through this process, and to give you that space and time for you to reflect and you to work on all of the activities and things that you need to do, because it is time consuming, and you're going to have to not only manage your time, but you're going to have to find ways to not only manage your expectations, but manage others' expectations as you go through this journey. The fourth piece of advice is that you should focus on tailoring what this experience means for you, so you can not only get the most out of it, but you can also feel the best going into it and finishing the process. This Artist Way was not by far life-changing for me as it was to a lot of people going through the Artist Way. For me, I had one goal, and I probably should have started off this video sharing my goal, but here we are, it's fine. My one goal was to find more ways to be creative and learn a few different hobbies. During my time, I got into pastel art, watercolor, acrylic. I taught myself how to knit. I sketched a little bit. I tried forms of art that I haven't touched since middle school and elementary school. My goal for the Artist Way was to find more ways to be creative, to get off my phone, and it's important for you to tailor your experience to what goal you have and figure out what you want to get out of this program. Figure out what you want to learn, figure out what you want to do, and focus on that as your outcome as you go through this process, because it is mentally challenging and emotionally challenging as well. And with that, you're going to be tasked to do some activities and reflect on your life from your childhood to experiences growing up and how you're feeling right now as well. I feel like I just went off in a tangent, but make sure that you tailor this experience for yourself and make sure that your goals align with this experience and what you want to get out of the practice. Tip number 5 was a big one for me. I am so stubborn, and it took me a long time to accept this. The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron is technically a self help book. I don't like reading self help books. I like help. I don't like how self help books are formatted, but I would still say this one's a little bit different in the sense that I enjoy this because it's a self help workbook. Because you're asked to read through chapters and work on different activities and work on journal prompts, work on your artist's way, your morning pages. It doesn't feel very self-helpy. And something else that I don't appreciate, that I am even more stubborn about than self-help books, is that in this book, Julia Cameron comes from a spiritual lens as well as a psychological and critical thinking lens. And I consider myself to not be religious at all. And even in the preface, in chapter 1, Julia Cameron mentions that she's going to be referring to God or some higher power or universe. And we can call it however we want. Mother Nature, we can call her goddess, we can call this higher being the universe. And I could never get on board. And I still can't, and that's okay. I think that as long as you are aware of this and you're aware that this is how you feel, you can kind of set that aside. Just knowing that not every single thing that Julia Cameron says has to relate to you or you have to agree with. There were a lot of moments going through the Artist's Way that I didn't agree with Julia Cameron, but you have to just acknowledge that, understand that, write about it in your morning pages, and just move on. This is sort of a universal self-help book to find your creativity again. But like I mentioned, everyone's going to go through this process differently, and everyone is going to feel some sort of way and not the same way about what is written in this book. So just know that it's okay if you don't agree with everything that is mentioned in here. One of the biggest controversies with the Artist's Way that I see has to do with morning pages. And people talk about morning pages outside of the Artist's Way. And just a reminder, remember like 2 seconds ago, I said that everyone should go through this experience however they want to, and you should tailor the Artist's Way to what works for you. That goes for the morning pages as well. The morning pages is technically 3 pages, stream of consciousness, and it's supposed to be written on a 5x7. 5x7? Whatever a sheet of printer paper is, whatever size that is. It should be written 3 pages on a giant piece of paper. I'm sorry, but no, that's not me. That was never me. And what worked for me is that I wrote 1 page stream of conscious in the morning, and then I would finish up my 2nd page at night. So ultimately, every single day I would write 2 pages. And the second one technically isn't stream of conscious first thing in the morning, but I'm still dumping my thoughts from the day at the very end of the day, so I think it works. I've seen people do strictly their 3 pages in the morning. I've seen and heard people talk about doing their morning pages once they get to work. I know some people can't do it right when they wake up because they have families, pets to take care of, they have to get ready for work, and that's okay. I know that Julia Cameron says to try working on them in the morning, first thing, but if that doesn't work for you and that's not how you like to write your morning pages or dump, then don't do morning pages. Do them in the afternoon. Do them in the evening. Do whatever you need to do to get them done. Just make sure you do the morning pages. And something else that I've just seen online is people just don't like the morning pages. I thought I would not like and enjoy and get anything out of morning pages as I was going through the process, but I finished and I'm still doing my morning pages every single morning. It's a practice that you need to get into the habit of. And once you find your flow, it's going to work for you. Don't give up on your morning pages. If you can't write 3 pages, that's okay. Julia Cameron even says, if you can't finish your morning pages. Just keep writing. I don't know what to write. I don't know what to write. I don't know what to write. And I kid you not, there were days when I couldn't even get a whole page done, and half of it was just, I don't know what to write. I don't know what to write. As you continue, I promise you will find something to write about and your brain will just unravel. It's just gonna take time. Like any habit, you have to continue doing your morning pages and make sure you practice the act of writing, and you'll get into the flow of it by the end. So don't give up on your morning pages. And then a tip for morning pages is to find a notebook that you know you're going to love to use every single day. For me, I have rules for my notebooks. It has to be blank pages. I cannot have them ruled. If they are ruled, it has to be college ruled. I hate wide ruled. But I also prefer grid over ruled paper. But ultimately, I need blank. So when I pick out a new notebook for my morning pages, it's always going to be a notebook that has blank sheets of paper, nothing else. Find what works for you, and then you'll want to use your notebook more. My ninth piece of advice is to just start. You are not going to have perfect weeks, so just start the artist's way. And as you work through the artist's way, you're going to have really good weeks where you get everything done and you feel really accomplished and you feel like everything clicks right up here and right up here. However, you're also going to have really shitty weeks, and you're going to have a week where nothing makes sense, none of the reading aligns with what you believe in, and you're gonna feel like you've hit a point where you don't understand why you're even working through the artist's way. Don't give up, just keep going. Start, don't give up, keep going. Just make sure you finish. Just know that this process is not going to be perfect. You're going to have ebbs and flows as you go through the artist's way, just like any big course or journey or change that you have in your life. As generic as it sounds, you're going to have highs and lows as you work your way through the artist's way, and that's just the part of the process of the artist's way. It's the beauty of the artist's way. And we've made it to the last tip. This is a no-brainer, but always a good reminder for myself with anything that I work on, and for you as well. Have fun going through the artist's way, and don't take yourself too seriously. Take yourself seriously, but not too seriously. This is going to bring up so many emotions as you work through your life experiences, but also it's supposed to be a really fun experience. The artist states are supposed to bring you joy, and you're supposed to find little moments that make you happy. And remember, that's the point. Remember your goal, remember what you want to get out of it, but also don't take everything too seriously, because once you're done with the artist's way, you want it to blend in with your life naturally. So have fun with the artist's way and don't take yourself too seriously. This was a very chatty video, and I hope it was helpful. If you're on the fence about starting the artist's way, I hope you decide to take that leap after watching this. I hope I can nudge you in the right direction, but just remember, if you choose not to, that's okay too. I think that this is a very long journey, longer than most people expect, and you do need to be focused enough, but remember, still have fun as you work through the artist's way. And if you have any questions as you're going through the artist's way, please message me on Instagram. It is as told by Shuba, and I would love for you all to keep me posted if you start, if you're done, if you're going through it. I feel like I don't talk to enough people about the artist's way on a day-to-day basis, but it's nice to feel like I'm a part of a community now that I've finished, and now I can really appreciate all the hard work other people have gone through, knowing that I went through it myself. Even though, like I mentioned, I didn't go through it to a T, but I still finished. And I am so proud of myself. It takes a lot of willpower, creativity to finish, and I'm just really thankful that I took the leap and went through the process, even though it took me more than 12 weeks. And I hope you can feel the same way too. With that, I will leave this video here. Have a great day, and I hope you can create some art that you can be proud of.